Welcome to Ask and Learn.
So they want us to use the tournament sort to sort this list of numbers that they provide here. So just kind of go through what that algorithm is. So they tell us we start from left to right and then we just compare each of the pairs that come up. So we do 17 versus 4. So we're going to choose the largest of these two, which is going to be 17. Then we're going to compare the next set, 1 and 5, so 5 is larger. And then we're going to compare 13 and 10, and so there 13 is larger. And then we would compare 14 and 6, so 14 is larger. All right, now we're going to compare each pairs going left to right for this second round here. So we're going to do 17 versus 5. Well, 17 is larger. And then 13 versus 14. Well, 14 is larger. Then lastly, we're going to compare 17 versus 14. And this is going to give that 17 is larger. So what we've learned from this is that 17 is the largest value in our set. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and copy this graph and then replace 17 with negative infinity. So let me go ahead and copy this real quick. All right, so let's erase all these 17s. Like I was saying, we're replacing them with a negative infinity, or at least we'll replace the one at the very bottom with negative infinity. So now we're going to repeat this, but notice we only need to do this now for the ones where we erase 17 from. So we do negative infinity versus 4. So we're assuming negative infinity is the largest or the smallest possible element that we can have. So that means 4 is larger than it. And then we do 4 versus 5. Well, 5 is larger. And then 5 versus 14. Well, 14 is larger. So what this tells us is that 17 and then 14 would be our largest. And now we're going to repeat this and then continue this process. And this time we would replace 14 with negative infinity. So erase all of these 14s. And then at the very bottom, we'll put a negative infinity. All right, so negative infinity versus 6. Remember, negative infinity we're assuming is smaller than all other values. So we'd have 6 winning. And 6 versus 13, well, 13 wins. And then 5 versus 13, 13 wins. So that means we'd have 17, 14, 13 for our ordering so far. And now again, we're going to replace 13 with negative infinity and then repeat this. All right, so erase all of the 13s. And now we put negative infinity down here. So negative infinity versus 10, 10 wins, 10 versus 6, 10 wins, 5 versus 10, 10 wins. So far we have 17, 14, 13, and then 10. Now we're going to copy this one more time and then replace 10 with negative infinity. So erase all of the 10s. And now we replace that with negative infinity. So if we have the same number, doesn't matter which one moves up. So negative infinity just moves up. Now negative infinity versus 6. Well, we'd put 6 there. Now 5 versus 6. 6 would win. So we have so far 17, 14, 13, 10, and then 6. Now, again, we'll replace all of this and then go ahead and change that 6 out for a negative infinity. So replace these 6s with a negative infinity. So negative infinity. So comparing two negative infinities, so that moves up again, comparing two negative infinities. And then negative infinity and 5, well, 5 would win. Right, so now our list is 17, 14, 13, 10, 6, and 5. Now we're replacing all those 5s with negative infinity. So let's erase those 5s. And we'll replace that bottom blank with negative infinity. So that means 1's going to move up. Now 4 versus 1, 4 moves up. 4 versus negative infinity, 4 moves up. So 17, 14, 13, 10, 6, 5, 4. And lastly, we'll go ahead and do this with 4. And we get rid of all those 4's now. And then replace that with a negative infinity. All right, so again, negative infinity versus negative infinity. Negative infinity moves up. Negative infinity versus 1. 1 moves up. 1 versus negative infinity. 1 moves up. So that would list 17, 14, 13, 10, 6, 5, and 4. Then lastly, 1. So now notice if we were to go ahead and replace all of these with negative infinity, our whole chart would just be negative infinity. So we could just go ahead and stop here since we have it sorted from greatest to smallest. So let's just kind of walk through what we did again. Well, we first just ordered them, and then we paired each of these up, had them do a little tournament style fight where we said that the largest one is going to go on. So 17 went on, 5 went on, 13 went on, and then 14. Then we compared those two sets of winners, and then we compared the set of winners for those two. Then we got our largest value. Then we came down and replaced that largest value with negative infinity, and then we essentially just repeated the whole thing. But since we already had the chart, and luckily since I could just copy and paste it, we didn't have to start with writing everything from the bottom again. So the other way that you can do the tournament sort, but it doesn't tell us that to do it this way, is instead of the largest wins, you could also do where the smallest wins. So it just kind of depends on which way works more efficiently for what you're trying to do. But either way will essentially give you the same sort, but one's just from greatest to largest and the other one's from smallest to largest.